Hey all, Chris Mystery Cleaning Woods on the Far Coast. I thought I'd do another video today about why some businesses fail and how you can sort of safeguard yourself and your business from that. So your temptation when you very first start, I can attest to that, is to grab as much work as possible, and go for the big paying jobs and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it works, to a degree. However, making sure you get the right jobs in the right amount, that's the key. So why the case for this video? So I know a couple of people, businesses should I say, that operate on a commercial basis only. That said, that they only do big paying jobs like big office buildings. They only do like supermarkets for window cleaning, and that's their niche. They don't do residentials. The old attitude of pre-COVID was, we don't do those. Oh no, we want the bigger things. For some of them, that's not necessarily they all feel like that, but it's the impression I got from speaking to a couple of people. They don't want the small fry. They want the big hits, the big jobs, stuff like that. Quarterly jobs, maybe annual jobs, but really big ones. And the problem is that some of these companies have massive overheads, and then they have massive income, which is brilliant, and they have massive overheads. So for example, for me, I've got, just showing the background there, so I've got my two vans there. So white one I own outright. The white one I pay 350 quid a month for that van and the kit, and the other one, the silver one, I own that one outright. That was my original van when I first started. Excuse the light, it's pretty poor. So yeah, basically, my overheads are pretty low. It's 350 quid a month, and whatever costs for my resin annually, which for me, with the equipment we've got, is about £200 for the year, and that will purify water for about 12 to 15 months, something like that. So we're quite fortunate. Our overheads aren't massive. We don't have lots of staff wages. I've got 4 lads that are well, 3 lads now who are self-employed lads, contracting to us. They have their own businesses on the side, and they help me out when necessary, when I need them. And yeah, so but if you've got a big business, then doing things like blocks of flats, skyscraper type effort, and then the harnesses, the rope access courses, the insurances are higher, the cranes and stuff like that these big companies use, the cherry pickers and all this sort of stuff. So it's not something that I have to worry about, to be fair, because that's not my aim. Is not to go massive and big in the sense of doing these huge gargantuan jobs. That's not my aim. My aim is to keep it simple, have a couple of really decent sort of good sized commercial jobs, the mainstay being residential window cleaning, and then topping up my earnings with things like gutter clearing, jet washing, and deep cleans of the like. So that's my aim. So my business, I'm quite lucky, it can turn on a dime if it needs to. So take this recent COVID-19 crisis that's come about. No one saw this really as an event coming. All the commercial stuff just dropped off, and for me that made up about 35 to 40% of my round, which is a lot of money to be losing. Add to that the added effect of the schools closing, so they didn't want us coming around, and with the schools closing, it also had another effect, was that the guys that usually carry out work for me had to reduce the amount of days that they could work just to look after the children. So I had one guy who does 5 days a week for us, or 5 mornings a week for us, and he couldn't work at all because he could only work 3 days a week, should I say. And the other guy, Paul, he can't work more than a Thursday or a Saturday, and the only reason he can work the Thursday is because his wife works from home on that day. So I'm quite fortunate for that. One of my guys sadly has a an elderly relative that lives with him, and as such he has to shield her from this virus, so he can't work at all. So that's a bit of a worry for him. But yeah, I mean, to lose 40, call it 35% of my work, just over a third of my work and income from that, it was relatively quickly regained because we were able to carry on. We were lucky, we were able to carry on, and the residential side of life picked up. Now, a commercial cleaning company can't necessarily change tack that quickly, I would argue. They have massive costs for cranes, etc., unless they own the cranes, but for the most part a lot of these companies will pay big bucks to have these cranes and stuff like that. So they then have to charge more, so it's very hard for them to recoup that kind of cost when their customer base just bottoms out. So this goes, so my main focus of this video, I think, in all honesty, is to sort of encourage guys starting becoming self-employed in no matter what you do. It could be window cleaning, it could be any number of service-based business, whatever it is. You have to stress test your business. What do I mean by stress test? So you have to understand that on occasions the market can be a downturn, there can be a recession, people can lose their jobs. Now if people lose their jobs, they're not likely to spend that money out on things that really aren't classed as an essential service. So I'm not a paramedic, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a brain surgeon, I'm not a police officer. My role as a window cleaner in the grand scheme of society is largely to perform a luxury service which is not essential. So if we're able to trade on having lots of customers who pay us very, very not very small amounts, but like £10 here, £15 there, £30 there, sort of thing, and we can trade because we have the turnover and the repeat custom. A commercial company, so if I lose a job, the most I'll probably lose is probably 30 quid. That's probably the highest amount I'll charge for a commercial property, roughly. I mean, there are the odd ones that are 60 or 70 quid that we do, but for the most part, your average standard houses, 3 floors conservatory, or 2 floors conservatory, your average homes, most I'll probably lose is about £30 from one job. But you take that to a large company, that does blocks of flats, he loses work, and he'll lose anything from £400 up to £1,000, and he's got a lot less customers, but they pay more. So you need to strike a balance if you're going to start a business. It's all well and good going for these big contracts and stuff, and I'm not trying to dismiss what they do. I mean, I think it's brilliant that you've got companies that have got the minerals to go out there and get big jobs like massive flats and all this sort of stuff, or brilliant, fantastic. But what I would say is that if there is a downturn in the market, they are particularly vulnerable, whereas by and large, like for me, we've got a lot of pensioners in this area of the Fylde Coast. It's like a lot of people retire here to live here, so they have the pensions, and by and large they'll have pensions, they'll have investments, they'll have something to live off in their retirement. So these are good people to have as customers, because by and large their income will not change unless the government mandates that they're taxing pensions, or for example like people on benefits, unless they mandate in a budget that they're having their benefits cut, then by and large, year after year, their income remains the same, so they're able to pay out. So I diversified my business. I've got my residential, I've got my elderly ladies, old people that pay. I've got my guys on benefits that I pay. There's businesses, pubs, clubs, cafes, restaurants, bars. So when the money's back in the till, they'll have us back. There's people, working families, there's business owners, all sorts. There's hospitals, there's care homes, there's loads. So diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket is the crux of what I'm trying to say. Because like I say, if that one area that you specialize in, if your niche is so specific, you may come a cropper if that part of the market bottoms out, and it's something that you really should be guarding against. So yeah, I've just had Paul finish a gutter clearance job with our latest toy. So we've just I've just invested in one of these gutter vacuums. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. So I'll show you this here. So excuse the mess, but this is my gutter vacuum, and yeah, it can reach up to 3 floors, which is fantastic. It's not something I look forward to doing, is going up a ladder at 3 floors, and I won't touch it, that kind of work. But this cost me about 680 quid. Will enable me to take on, you know, bigger jobs, and, you know, sort of charge more, kind of thing. But from a practical perspective, a gutter clearance job when you're working on your own or as a pair of guys going up a ladder might take you maybe an hour to do a property, clear the gutters out, wipe all the gutters down, put moss magic in the gutters and stuff like that. It will probably take an hour to do an average house, you know, all round. With this here, the gutters can be cleared in a matter of minutes, which is mega. It's just brilliant. So strongly recommend you look at one of those. I'll put a link in the description for the machine that I've purchased. Again, I'm not sponsored by these people. I'm doing this purely from a position of, I'm trying to show you guys which machines I like and I trust and I use. But you know, if you could come up with something better, all to the good. Happy with that. So anyway, have yourself a great day, people. I'm about to enjoy the rest of my weekend, and I shall see you in another video. Take care now. Bye now.